Something I meant to ask you as well was, you made a good point on there, like the girls don't want to be seen as sweaty. That an awful lot of the research that we've seen published around like interview-based stuff is girls don't want to do exercise because they don't like the red faces and all. But it's nearly gotten to a stage now that they say stuff like that because the researchers expect them to say that, and they know they'll be satisfied with an answer and won't dig a bit deeper, because it might not be that. They might actually, like, school I was in they just love sport, all girls school, and they had no problem going around sweaty. They had no problem with red faces, sitting in geography after PE. They took pride in being sweaty and haven't gone really hard in PE. Whereas I often wonder, is there stuff underneath we haven't really dug into because we're satisfied with the answer of, I don't want to look too sweaty or I don't want to look bad at, whereas it could actually be more. And had you uncovered that like that in some of your stuff?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to answer this and then you can tell me if I've completely sidetracked, right? To make sure I have your question right. But we did some stuff recently. Now, this is with adult women. And it was around kind of body image, and a lot of it, like, it's the exact, like, I mean, we talk about teenage girls, but I think even what you're saying there about like avoiding team-based sports because you're not good at it. Like, I was the same with running. Like, I said for years, I'm like, oh, I hate running, it's boring. It was actually just because I was really freaking bad at it, and I was terrified to say, oh, I want to try running, but I'm really bad at it, and so that's why I avoid it. You know what I mean? So I think like the barriers that we have as teenagers are probably really similar to what we have, like, you know, in later life. But anyway, so we talked to women around kind of their body image and how they felt about exercising in the gym in terms of, you know, sweating, having sweat patches, hair, whatever. And almost like women's like automatic thing, like when they're in an interview situation with the researcher was, oh no, I'm fine about that. Like I almost like not wanting to be vulnerable enough to say, actually, like, I am really insecure about that. Or like, actually, you know what, I'm not happy with this part of my body and I would like to improve it. It's like, you don't want to admit that because it's like, you know, I don't know if they feel like they're going to be judged by me as a researcher, or if they just want to come across as because all media tells us is like, you know, female empowerment, you should always be happy with your body. And yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, but I just think that was like a really interesting reflection that Kat, my co-author, and I had after the interviews of like, you really had to like dig into it to how, like, you know, for women to admit that they didn't feel, or they did feel a certain way about their bodies, or maybe women just weren't aware of kind of their insecurities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. That circles us into, like, I had it down here, I want to talk more about your more recent gym-based stuff, looking into females there. What other bits have you from that?
Yeah, so it was a global study. So we did a survey and then followed up with interviews with like a subgroup of women. And like, honestly, John, like, I think the most, like, nothing that we found is revolutionary. Like, I feel like if you were to if any woman or maybe any man was to read the paper, they'd be like, yeah, I see myself, like, I identify with that, or I like see that, or, but I think I think the paper is really impactful, and it's gotten picked up by so much like media. It's been in the Daily Mail, and it's been like, I've never seen engagement like it, but I think it's because it's almost like validating people's experiences. You know, like, people go into the gym and they're, you know, they think, oh, well, I'm the only one who thinks this way, or like, I'm really insecure and I don't want to look in the mirror or whatever. And I think kind of reading this paper, not that most people will read the paper, but if you were to read the paper, I think it's quite validating in the sense that, oh, actually loads of people all around the world, all different ages, feel the same way. So the study kind of one of them looked at kind of our, you know, do you wear makeup to the gym? Do you do your hair? Like shaving, like things like that. One of them looked at the clothing we wear to the gym. So, you know, are you concerned about the colour of your clothing for sweat patches or period leaks or whatever it might be? One of them was around the actual gym environment. So, do you not go in the evening time because it's really busy and that's intimidating? Do you exercise in certain areas of the gym? So like, do you avoid the weight area? Or, where do you feel most comfortable? And then the last section was kind of around interacting with other people. So it could be, we found that a lot of the women felt intimidated by men, but felt judged by women. And so there's, both of them are quite negative, but they're just slightly different depending on whether it's kind of interactions with men or women. So that's kind of what the study found. And I think, I don't know, I think the big output of it for us is we would really like to create some sort of, I don't know, like whether it's a social media campaign. We just did something this morning with Ireland Active. They've kind of promoted some of our findings, but I don't know if it's like a CPD for trainers on more inclusive practices. Is it a campaign in the gym to have more diverse and inclusive imagery and language? I don't know what it is, but I think there's something here that is like an easy thing to do to make not just women but lots of people feel more included and safe and welcome in kind of those gym environments.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's exclusive to women that they're feeling intimidated going to gyms. I think there's a lot of subgroups of people that would feel like, I think it took me 3 years to actually build up the courage to go to a gym from the time I started thinking I wanted to go to eventually doing it. And I'd say there's a lot in similar positions. I think